Thanks for joining us. I'm Berita RTM and you're watching news at 10. Our headlines tonight. Construction of Phase 2 of Sarawak-Sabah Link Road to begin early next year. School counsellors play important role in guiding students after SPM. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob is confident that Sarawak's target to be a developed state by 2030 can be achieved under the leadership of Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. He said, in addition, the federal government will continue to prioritise the development of Sarawak, and this is proven by the development expenditure allocation of RM4.55 billion provided under the second rolling plan of 2022 of the 12th Malaysia Plan 12MP.
Selain daripada itu, bagi menjamin keselesaan dan kemudahan generasi masa hadapan, peruntukan sebanyak RM5.77 bilion telah disediakan di bawah RMK 12 bagi membangunkan dan menaik taraf sekolah serta institusi pendidikan di Sarawak.
According to the Premier, out of 409 new development and extension projects, 111 of them are now fully completed. 109 are at the implementation or construction stage, and another 189 are in the pre-construction phase. He also said that an allocation of RM2.16 billion has also been provided to cover 361 projects to upgrade and rebuild schools with dilapidated buildings. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said 4 localities in Sarawak have also been identified for the Keluarga Malaysia Hardcore Poverty Eradication Program, BMTKM, which aims to achieve zero hardcore poverty by 2025. In addition to BMTKM, he said a total of 367,967 families in the state had received benefits through the Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia BKM initiative, which involved an allocation of RM745 million. On the health sector, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said a total of 6 hospitals and clinic construction projects were implemented in the state involving additional buildings, medical equipments and quarters.
Sehingga kini, Hospital Sri Aman telah pun siap, manakala 5 buah projek lagi yang melibatkan kos sebanyak RM695.5 juta di Miri, Mukah, Kuching dan Serian dijangka siap pada tahun hadapan.
He said the Ministry of Rural Development has also provided an allocation of RM13.4 billion for infrastructure development to ensure the comfort and well-being of the people in the state. At the same time, both the federal and state governments are also committed in providing broadband internet facilities to the people in the state through the National Digital Interconnection Program Jendela.
Kerajaan memperuntukkan sebanyak RM4.09 bilion di bawah RMK 12 untuk memastikan capaian jalur lebar secara menyeluruh kepada keluarga Malaysia di Sarawak menjelang tahun 2030.
The Premier added that the government also allocated RM4.09 billion under the 12th MP to ensure comprehensive broadband access in Sarawak by 2030. The recent launch of the country's 8th satellite, MESAT 3D, costing RM1.2 billion, will increase the speed of existing internet access while bridging the digital divide between the urban and rural populations. Meanwhile, the Premier noted that the federal government will proceed with the construction of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road SSLR Phase 2 project that will connect Miri to Limbang and Lawas. He said the construction work of the Phase 2 project without going through Brunei is expected to commence early next year.
Fasa kedua, projek Sarawak Sabah Link Road yang akan menghubungkan Miri ke Limbang dan Lawas tanpa perlu melalui Brunei. Projek Fasa 2 SSLR dari Sempang Gelugus ke Long Lopeng di Lawas ini akan menghubungkan Mulu sehingga Long Merarap sejauh 326 km dengan kos sebanyak 7.68 bilion ringgit.
He said the federal government will also upgrade the existing road network between Miri to Limbang and Lawas via Brunei under the Trans-Borneo Highway Project LTB. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said the upgrading works involving a stretch of 96.351 kilometres will be completed in a 3-year period, a total cost of 2.93 billion ringgit. He said this will be a catalyst for the local socio-economic development as the Pan-Borneo Highway has started to have a positive impact and economic spillover for the people who do business at Pasar Tamu Simpang Berkenu. The Premier added the Pan-Borneo Highway project, costing 16.1 billion ringgit, that was launched in March 2015, is now 85% and is expected to be completed fully in the first quarter of next year. School counsellors play an important role in guiding students to identify opportunities after the Sijil Persekolahan Malaysia SPM examination according to their field of interest and to suit their abilities and skills. Senior Education Minister Dato Dr. Razzie Jidin said the counsellors were trained to understand the needs of employers so that they could help students identify in which direction to go after completing school. Elaborating further on the matter, the senior minister said, hence, after the SPM exam, these students already know where to go if they want to go to technical or where to go if they are interested in the field of science, and teachers will continue to help these children to ensure that they understand what is the best journey for their future. In this context, he said, if they don't study at university in this field, they will have skills as there are various fields that they can further their studies, which will be the ministry's approach to prepare the students. He said this at a press conference after officiating the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction project of the Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan SMK Bohor Jaya at the SMK Kedawang in Langkawi today. Datuk Razzie was asked to comment on a media report on 31st July that 390,000 or 72.1% of SPM holders did not want to continue their studies based on a survey carried out by the Department of Statistics Malaysia DOSM. The report mentioned that although the data is for 2019, the trend is believed to have continued in 2020 as well as last year. A committee has been set up to investigate the incident involving a senior government official and an immigration officer at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA recently. Chief Secretary to the government Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali said the committee chaired by Attorney General Tan Sri Idris Harun will convene a meeting as soon as possible to conduct an investigation into the incident that was reported to have occurred on 3rd August. Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki, through a release statement today, said the committee members are Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani, Auditor General Datuk Sri Nik Azman Nik Abdul Majid, and Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki. The committee could conduct a thorough investigation into the incident to give due judgment to both parties. On Wednesday, a senior government official was alleged to have used abusive language against an immigration officer at the KLIA for not adhering to the stipulated practices and procedures. An unemployed man was sentenced to death by hanging at the Kota Bharu High Court after he was convicted of drugs dealing charges 6 years ago. The sentence was meted out by Judicial Commissioner Datuk Muhammad Abazafri Muhammad Abbas on to Muhammad Hafizul J. Muhammad Zahid, 30, after he had failed to prove his case beyond reasonable doubt. The court found that the accused statements as well as witnesses called were suspicious and clashing with the prosecution's testimony. According to the charge sheet, the accused had distributed methamphetamine drugs in front of a house in Wakaf Baru, Tumpat. The offence was committed on 22nd September 2016, involving drugs which weighed at 89.8 grams. The accused was charged according to Section 39B subsection 1 and can also be charged under Section 39B subsection 2 of the same Act, which carries the death sentence upon conviction. Lawyer representing the accused, Ridwan Ismail, appealed for the court to lighten the sentence under the excuse that it was the first offence and the accused had never been convicted of criminal cases. On the other hand, Deputy Public Prosecutor Nurazlinawati Muhammad Arshad appealed for the maximum penalty due to increased drugs cases to set a lesson to the public. A hiking trip for a group of foreigners in Gunung Jasar, Cameron Highlands quickly turned into a tragedy for them when one of the group members died. During the incident, which took place about 10 a.m., the victim, Marc-Antoine and Marie, 52-year-old Frenchman, suddenly collapsed while the hiking party was in the woods. Pahang Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Operations Director Ismail Abdul Ghani said the MERS 999 received a distress call about the incident about 10:28 a.m. The group was nearing the peak when the victim suddenly collapsed. Various attempts were made to resuscitate, but the victim did not respond. The victim was carried on a stretcher towards the foot of the hill before paramedics confirmed his death. It is learned that the victim was part of a group which consisted of 4 French nationals, 4 Italians, 1 Norwegian and a local tour guide. Modern technology application can boost national paddy production. The government's commitment in encouraging the application of modern agriculture amongst farmers can be seen through the launch of the Rice Information Management System RIMS. Agriculture and Food Industries Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ronald Kiandi said the application is in line with the large-scale Smart Sawah SBB objectives.
Yang ladang yang kita buat awal sejak tahun 2001 ini menunjukkan potensi untuk kita meningkatkan hasil padi daripada 3 tan, 2 metrik tan 1 hektar kepada lebih 10 sehingga 10 metrik tan per hektar. Dan ini menunjukkan potensi melalui pengurusan dan aplikasi teknologi yang terkini dalam pengurusan ladang padi negara kita.
RIMS is intended to increase production levels while simultaneously reducing the cost of planting paddy. It is also a digital decision-making support system which utilizes artificial intelligence, sensor technologies and satellites to provide real-time insight and recommendations for the paddy plantation industry. Datuk Seri Ronald said this when officiating the Laman Padi and the launch of the SBB Smart Logo, Rice Information Management System RIMS, in conjunction with the Malaysian Agriculture, Horticulture and Agro-Tourism Exhibition MAHA 2022 at the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Serdang MIPS in Serdang, Selangor today. The Malaysian Agriculture, Horticulture and Agro-Tourism Exhibition MAHA is hoped to encourage farmers and breeders to integrate digitalization and technological elements in their field. Communication and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said this is vital in the transformation process of the national agriculture sector, especially towards better food manufacturing practices.
I've seen several solutions already available in the market, but whether or not our farmers adopt and adapt to the availability of such technology. And this is very important. Kalau kita cakap tentang misalnya tentang food security, we must know exactly how much we produce, how much we need. And by doing that, we can more or less control the price.
He said this after officiating the Agro-Edutainment Cluster along with Agriculture and Food Industry Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ronald Kiande. The Agro-Venture-themed cluster is one of the new attractions for this year's edition of MAHA. Parties involved in the cooking oil manufacturing and distributing ecosystem are reminded not to hide their supplies or ration them following the rolling out of the maximum price scheme tomorrow. Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation Committee Chairman Tan Sri Anwar Musa reiterated that such actions will in the end only result in loss for sellers and bring issues for consumers.
Kalau kita nak betulkan semua ni, semua orang mesti laksanakan langkah-langkah dengan cara yang betul. Kita tahu profitiari pencatutan adalah bercanggah dengan undang-undang. Begitu juga menyorok barang juga merupakan satu kesalahan. Dan juga apabila satu-satu komoditi ataupun satu-satu barangan dimasukkan dalam tarif harga maksimum, semua orang kena cuba untuk mematuhinya.
He said this when met by reporters today. Starting tomorrow, the maximum price for a 5-kilogram plastic bottle of cooking oil will be set at RM34.70. The Rural Development Ministry KPLB is identifying villages throughout the country that meet the ministry's criteria to be called Kampung Sejahtera or prosperous villages. Minister Datuk Seri Madzhi Khalid said the criteria include good infrastructure, high-impact economic activities, viable human capital and good health levels. He said the KPLB had not fixed a target for the number of villages that will be hailed as prosperous villages this year. Nonetheless, he strongly recommends that all village committees participate in the competition. If a village is successful in meeting the criteria to be declared as a prosperous village, the ministry will channel a development allocation to the village based on its needs.
Yang paling tinggi kita boleh bagi 1 juta lah. Kalau yang 1 juta ringgit kepada kampung tu untuk bukan duit bagi peruntukan pembangunan dalam kampung. Ada yang 100,000, ada yang 200,000 macam itulah.
Bergantung pada keperluan di kampung tu.
Bergantung pada keperluan. Dia contohnya dia dah cantik dah, jalan baik, elektrik ada, pipe air ada, mungkin surau dia tak begitu cantik. Tapi ketua tu innovation lah, ketua tu kreatif. Kita tolonglah. Tapi kalau dia pun 4 tahun pun tak pernah buat gotong royong, jadi macam mana nak bagi contoh lah macam tu lah kan.
Still ahead, Hong Kong reports 75 imported malaria cases over past month. Hong Kong has recorded 75 imported malaria cases from Africa over the past month, but a medical expert said there is no cause for concern as the disease is not transmitted from person to person and infection risk can be controlled by inpatient hospital care. The Centre for Health Protection on Sunday said that from 1st July to Saturday, it had recorded a total of 75 imported malaria cases, comprising patients aged 25 to 57 who had all arrived in Hong Kong from Africa. It added 65 arrived from Guinea and the others from elsewhere in Africa. A centre spokesman said it had put in place a set of measures in an effort to stop malaria cases from spreading, including health screening at Hong Kong International Airport and putting arrivals from Africa under quarantine. As of noon on Saturday, 2 men aged 52 and 53 had died of the disease, while 58 patients were under medical care in public hospitals. Of those, 1 was in critical condition, 2 were listed as serious, and the rest were stable. The spokesman said those who developed symptoms would be sent to hospital for treatment, adding the centre had also arranged blood tests for those who travelled with the infected cases. While saying the risk of local transmission of malaria was extremely low, the spokesman urged the public to remain vigilant against the disease. Over 80,000 tourists are stranded in a resort city popularly known as China's Hawaii after a COVID flare-up led authorities to impose strict travel restrictions. Tourism hotspot Sanya is a city of more than 1 million people on the southern island of Hainan, where 483 COVID cases were reported on Sunday. All flights out of the city were cancelled over the weekend, with authorities also halting train ticket sales. Health authorities said tourists who want to leave must test negative in 5 PCR tests over 7 days. Hotels in the city have been asked to offer guests a 50% discount until the travel restrictions ease, an official said during a news briefing on Saturday. China is the only major economy still holding fast to a zero-COVID strategy, with snap lockdowns and long quarantines battering local tourism. The latest COVID outbreak comes during peak tourism season in Sanya, a popular surfing spot. All entertainment venues, including spas, karaoke bars and pubs, have been closed since last week, but essential services such as supermarkets and pharmacies remain open. Coming up in sports, Malaysia achieved 6 gold target thanks to dazzling show by Joe E.
Ini masanya untuk bersinar bersatu dengan semangat kesukanan. Dibawakan dari Birmingham, England. Edisi ke-22 memburu kegemilangan dalam misi yang lebih jitu. Dalam 20 jenis sukan dengan 238 acara. Sepanjang 12 hari sambutan, setiap pencapaian, perkembangan dan segala yang berlaku dibawakan untuk anda hanya di saluran RTM. Raikan perpaduan dengan semangat kesukanan bersama RTM, penyiar rasmi Sukan Commonwealth Birmingham 2022.
Rhythmic gymnast Eung Jo Ee bedazzled the judges in both the ball and ribbon apparatus finals to hand Malaysia the 5th and 6th gold medals on day 9 of the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, thus helping the country achieve the 6 gold target set for this edition. The feat also ensured the youngster made history as the first Malaysian gymnast to win 2 individual gold medals at the same Games. No one heard much of Eung Jo Ee before the start of the Commonwealth Games. In fact, the spotlight was on her more illustrious rhythmic gymnastic teammates to deliver gold. However, on Saturday, Jo Ee turned out to be the toast of the national contingent as she delivered 2 quick gold in succession in the ball and ribbon to help Malaysia achieve their 6 gold target. In the ball event, the 16-year-old amassed an amazing 29.7 points to finish ahead of Canada's Susanna Shabazian with 29.050, while Cyprus' Anna Sokolova was third with 28.8 points. Hours after landing her first ever Commonwealth Games gold medal at Birmingham 2022 through the ball discipline, Jo Ee soared high once again to win the ribbon discipline before a full house at Arena Birmingham. Debutant Jo Ee put on a superb performance from a start to finish, controlling the ribbon in such an elegant way to come out tops with 27.8 points to edge Scotswoman Louise Christie, who took silver with 27.550 points, while Carmel Kalima of Canada scored 27.5 points to secure bronze. The national rhythmic gymnastic team also saw Izzah Amzan chipping in with a bronze in the club final on the last day of the event. All right, now moving on in local football, Terengganu FC TFC will go up against Johor Darul Takzim JDT in the FA Cup final after beating Selangor FC 4-2 in the penalty shootout after drawing 1-1 in the semi-final match at Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium on Saturday night. Selangor had nearly gone ahead in the 7th minute, but Nur Hakim Hassan's shot was stopped by goalkeeper Rahadiazi Rahalim. TFC then counter-attacked, only to see an attempt by Petrus Chitambi go wide of the post. Selangor managed to score first in the 23rd minute through Nur Hakim, but TFC equalised in the 48th minute thanks to Faisal Halim. The result remained 1-1 even at the end of 30 minutes extra time, leading to the penalty shootout, which was won by TFC 4-2. The last time the Turtles going to the finals of the FA Cup was in 2011, where they were crowned as the champion. Great finals dating back to last year's Paris Masters in November. After that, the 26-year-old was also defeated in the championship match of last year's ATP finals. The Russian, who won his maiden Grand Slam title at Flushing Meadows last year, went up a gear from 3 on, winning the next 8 games to seal the contest.
Every match was very good, but I mean the final is always special, and in the final you play the best player of this week.